afternoon. My name is Debbie Butler, and I will be doing my senior challenge on strategic sourcing. My team is Team 4, and of my team members, there was Jeffrey Fluke, Robin Johnson, Joseph Presley, James Radford, and myself. I'd also like to introduce who I have with me today. I have Paige Apelt, Karen Levis, and Rhapsody Williams. They are from the Southeast Region Regionalized Contracting Office. Next slide, please. Our problem statement is strategic sourcing is not mandated by the agency. The impact is multiple procurements, increased workload, and higher cost to the agency. We plan to implement all of our policies by 1 November 2011. Next slide, please. I thought I'd provide some definitions for you. OMB is Office of Management and Budget. OFPP is Office of Federal Procurement Policy. HCA is Head of Contracting Agency. CFO is Chief Financial Officer. And BPA is Blanket Purchase Agreement. Next slide, please. A little bit of discussion on strategic sourcing. Some background. Strategic sourcing began in the late 1940s after World War II. Harry Truman actually founded GSA in 1949 to improve the processes. The original definition of strategic sources should be a more effective and efficient form of purchasing. However, now the new broad definition is a collaborative and structured process of analyzing spending. Next slide, please. Our key stakeholders are OMB, OFPP, HCA, CFO, and our procurement team, which consists of contracting officers, contract specialists, and COTRs. Next slide, please. We came up with 5 alternatives, and they are status quo, service-specific sourcing, coordinating sourcing, reverse auctions, and commodity counsel. And I'm going to speak on each of these now. Next slide, please. Status quo is strategic sourcing not implemented. We'll just leave it status quo as is. It requires more resources to complete the workload. The cost savings or more favorable terms and conditions will not be realized with status quo. More budget potentially could be spent on purchases. And overall, status quo is a negative impact on the missions. Next slide, please. The next alternative is service-specific sourcing. This includes BPAs, which was an initiative by GSA, and it secured the best pricing and terms for most commonly used services. Some specific contract examples are copiers, office supplies, and printers. BPAs actually do result in a 30% savings overall. They're easy to use. Their pricing and terms are already included into their agreements. BPAs save time in executing purchases, and they show a positive impact upon the final budget. Next slide, please. Our next alternative is coordinating sourcing. The agency-wide purchases through the IDIQs, which are indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts, or BPAs. They provide significant opportunities for cost savings as well. They increase efficiencies of acquisition personnel, and they help standardize agency purchases. Now, the size of these contracts could allow small businesses to compete. Next slide, please. Our next alternative is reverse auctions. Reverse auctions streamline sourcing, procurement, and vendor management processes. You're able to negotiate more effectively with reverse auctioning. Reverse auctions provide a fair and open competitive environment for qualified sellers. They ensure price reasonableness, and they reduce waste and fraud. And reverse auctions offer the ability to conduct real-time competition, very similar to eBay. Here in the Southeast region, we do reverse auctions. We do FedBid, Primal Bid, and Hedgehog. And Paige Apelt is going to say a little bit about FedBid.
Yes, we've been using FedBid for a little while now, And the way the process works is we actually log, as a buyer, we log into our FedBid account and we enter specifications, target price. We download any clauses that might apply to that. We also enter our quantities and any shipping terms, which the sellers can see all of these specifications that we've entered. They are unable, though, however, the sellers are unable to see other sellers once they go out and actually bid on this. Normally, a lot of times when we go out for supplies, we're able to get a pool of anywhere from like 2,000 to 3,000 sellers at a time that have the opportunity to bid on our products. When we use FedBid, we are to use it exclusively. However, we can go back in and cancel our buy, and we can also go back in and update our posts as needed. Some of the features on FedBid, their database is derived with vendors that are registered under Central Contract Registration. They are able to help monitor the events going on. The staff from FedBid, they can also assist. One of the things with the sellers is there's a 3% seller fee on each award. Reports can be run from all of these sales, so it's real time. They're able to go in there and assist all of the sellers and buyers with any questions at that time.
Very similar to eBay. That's
Yes.
where the real time comes in.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And I think we do very well when we deal with FedBid. We get some good price quotes. We see different vendors that come in. We can actually do our negotiation forms and use those as price competition. So those work very well.
They can also, at that time when they're watching the buy, on FedBid, they can also go in there and take the fee off if they see we're not reaching our target price, so we do not go beyond that amount.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Paige.
Sure.
Also, Primal Bid is a new one that we have just come about beginning to use. And I think Karen has used this a little bit. Karen, would you speak a little bit on this?
I have used it just a couple times and have ran into some problems with being able to upload our clauses that we might want to associate with the PR that we're using. It's just like FedBid, but you do not put in as much information. There's maybe 2 screens that you fill in. FedBid, there's quite a bit more information that you have to put in when you're using FedBid. And so far I haven't been able to see how many sources we're actually going to receive quotes from. It doesn't, FedBid automatically shows you 2,800. Haven't seen that yet with Primal Bid, so I'm not quite sure how the end product's going to be, but it's ran just like FedBid is.
Okay, so how do you think the two are going to compare?
Right now, Primal Bid is easier to use,
Okay. Good.
but I'm not sure. FedBid will let you know if there's an issue with a vendor, if there's been some bad remarks, late deliveries. I'm not sure if Primal Bid how that's going to work yet.
All right, thank you. And those are very important to when you're dealing with different contractors, to see what's going on and who's out there that you should be getting their price quote from, or maybe should not be using them. Hedgehog is one of our newest ones, and I'm not really for sure we've used a lot of that yet, but Rhapsody Williams is going to just speak real quickly on that also.
Hedgehog is something that we're looking into now, gaining information on. It'll be for more usage of when we're doing our in-depth RFQs. It's FedBid to the nth degree, basically.
Okay.
It'll be a lot more services. We'll be able to post a lot more services to Hedgehog. There's more reports that you can get off of Hedgehog. We're just trying to work with the people there to coordinate some training and to get some additional information, but their fee schedule is lower. It's 2%, and it's on a sliding scale, so depending on how much your procurement is, I want to say it's 2% for awards from, say, $0 to $100,000, and then it goes down from there, say 100 to 250 is 1.8, and then and goes down. So we'll actually even realize more savings potentially using Hedgehog. I'm thinking that it could be similar to in basic terms, like a Fed Biz Ops or something, actually posting, larger requirements out there, not just supplies and very small services, but being able to actually post large services out there and getting competition that way. So it's exciting, but we're still in the negotiating of just getting the proper training and knowledge on that, but
Right.
something we'll use.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, next slide, please. Our other alternative is Commodity Council. This actually takes a cross-functional team that develops an acquisition strategy. The team recommends and reviews and provides that information to the board. These are appropriate for larger acquisitions such as maybe name brand casual dining. This Commodity Council results in cost savings and avoidance, but it is very labor intensive, and it's not suited for smaller agencies. Here at Fort Campbell, we will be getting a Chili's, and that's gonna actually fall under like the Commodity Council. That's how it would have gone through, under the name brand casual dining. That will be coming within the next year. Next slide, please. So the criteria for selecting the alternative recommendations. The cost savings, these are some factors. The OMB has agencies identify and analyze the commodities using their strategic sourcing plans. They report their savings to the OMB. They implement their strategic sourcing, and then the long-term benefits achieve cost savings and diminished procurement labor expense, which is what we're looking for, long-term savings and less expense. Next slide, please. The schedule would be to train employees more effectively and efficiently, consolidate individual processes, basically do more with less people. That's what we're actually looking at. The lead time for procurement processes will be condensed. Initial negative impact in the very beginning. This is going to be very negative, and it's probably not going to be received very well by the employees. But the future benefits are accelerated procurement and customer satisfaction. Next slide. The resources, the use of existing personnel, good management decision-making tools. It creates an opportunity for cost avoidance, and it standardizes purchases. The ease of implementation, there will be challenges with the future, but there will be benefits in the future. Next slide, please. So we rated each of our alternatives. We really do not want the status quo to be rated because we're not even considering that. We do not want things to stay status quo. So with our rating, the next one that came up on the highest was service-specific sourcing. Reverse auctions was number 2. Coordinating sources had 11 points, and Commodity Council had 8. So that was our ratings for each of our alternatives. Next slide, please. So therefore, our recommendation for this strategic problem is to implement the service-specific by 15 June of 2011, implement the reverse auctioning by 30 September 2011 worldwide, implement coordinated sources by 30 November 2011, and we want to further study the implementation of the Commodity Council. We're going to think that's going to take a little bit longer, but make a recommendation by 30 November. So do I have any questions or comments?
Just that with implementing the coordinating sourcing, we're coming up with a master list of all of our BPAs and our IDIQ contracts. They're kind of split between 2 areas now, so that's something we're working on and will be disseminated through the office in November.
Okay, that sounds really great. If there's no more questions, thank you very much. Have a great day.